Before you get moving around, just a couple quick notes. First off, thank you for taking the time to check out this demo with me. Really appreciate that. Also, thanks to your team for giving us the 3D model of the stadium behind us. As you can see, it gives us a great basis to start from. And our team of artists have been working from there. This all came together pretty quickly. And we figured that with a 4-person environment team, we could get a stadium to about this point in say, 2 weeks. But keep in mind, this is just a tech demo. And our art team would really like more time to keep polishing this stadium to make it look better once we're formally collaborating. But this should give you an idea. Also, you can look around. It looks like you might be aware with your mouse, if you're not doing that already. If you spin around and have a look behind you, you'll see these giant floating icons, or skycons as we've started calling them. This is just rough developer art, but you can imagine how clicking on any of those logos or stadiums could teleport you instantly to a recreation of another stadium or other MLB experience. So there's a lot of things we could build for a richer experience, and these are just here to indicate that. But for now, let's explore M Squared's demo of Dodger Stadium. So if you want to spin around and face me again. Also, with this crowd around, let me make myself a little bit bigger. I've got some staff special privileges. Make myself kind of giant here. Nice. So we find it's really handy to have speakers and performers be very large at M Squared events. But to be honest, I don't think Dodger Stadium was meant for 15-foot tall people. So I have to shrink down now and then in order to fit through doorways. I did mention people walking around in front of us. These are mostly sim players right now for the purposes of the demo. But it's important to understand that what M Squared does is it makes it so that every one of these AI could be a real participant, just like you are. So we don't have thousands of playtesters available right now. So these are rudimentary simulations standing in to give you a sense for the sort of crowd we can support. They do simulate real network traffic and load, though, so we use them extensively in load tests. You've probably seen footage of the Other Side First Trip or Alexa concert, and just like those, we can put thousands of people in this space, all at a great frame rate with nice graphics. Plus, every single player can talk naturally on their microphone, be heard naturally by anyone else that wanders up. So it all feels very normal, but it's actually a really tricky technical challenge. So far, only M Squared has cracked that challenge. So remember, in your experience, you'd have hundreds or thousands of folks, and we just don't have that many staff on hand for this demo. That said, we are able to get a handful of employees in here to log in as other participants. So if you see some folks wandering around that don't look like bots, you see someone acting suspiciously human, go ahead and do your Blade Runner Voight conf test, and we'll see if you can spot any of them. But anyway, as you've already noticed, you can move around with WASD. You can use shift or control for speed. You can also use space for jump or even double jump. That's a fun one. This control scheme is used in a lot of popular games. Doom, Skyrim, GTA, Call of Duty. Of course, we'll support controllers and even user-friendly UX for people who don't play video games or people using mobile phones. But for now, this is the control scheme we've got. And hopefully as you walk up to the stadium, you're starting to get a sense of actually being there. Notice how you can see yourself in third-person view? That perspective shows off your avatar and your clothing, provides a good sense of scale with the environment. But if you don't like it, you can move the mouse wheel in or out to get a really wide view, or even go into first-person view. Also, right now, the character models are generic, but you can see that we support a lot of different outfits. In fact, our technology allows for literally thousands of unique outfits displayed at the same time. So you can have a really one-of-a-kind appearance in the metaverse. It's easy to imagine how having licensed apparel, for example, can be a really important part of your digital identity in an environment like this, especially since you can choose to enable those clothes to work not just in your experiences. If you want, we can enable them for other M Squared metaverses. And as we walk over here, you can see we've got some, natural shops and kiosks like this cafe. So you can see that we could replicate a real commerce experience, but if we spin back around towards this giant floating glove and bat, you can see that we could get a little bit more metaversey and do an eye-catching skycon. So you don't have to stand in line, and with just a couple clicks, you could be shopping, right, in the metaverse. So right now, that's not hooked up to our e-commerce platform, but you could buy NFTs or avatar items, tickets, whatever you want from any kiosk we decide with just a few clicks. And again, no waiting in line. If we walk back over here, though, we'll show something else. Next to the stairs here, we've got materials set up that are like the Hall of Fame plaques around Dodger Stadium, right? So you can see some of great players. And right now, they're just static images and text. But because this is a metaverse experience, you can see how we could easily hook up a different kind of metaverse interaction. So for instance, you could be seeing classic plays or a memorial with some of Vin Scully's, most iconic play-by-play could easily pop up here. We could even make it custom to you. So for instance, right now, we can look into your NFT wallet using Web3 technology. Imagine if these kiosks were popping up the latest stats for your best baseball cards and seeing how those players are affecting this season's fantasy league standings for you. So we can get really metaversey with this stuff. We've had a bunch of other experiences we built for other metaverse activities. Like we've got collaborative graffiti walls that people can paint together, even giant piano keyboards like in the movie Big on the ground where you can walk on them and they play music. To be honest, that one doesn't work so well. Having 1,000 people walk on a piano at the same time is a recipe for a mess. But the idea is that it gives a live group of players an emergent way to have fun and build memories together that we haven't scripted. So speaking of building memories, I'm going to shrink down again so I don't hit my head. Let's head upstairs. We'll get our first look at the kind of crowd that M Squared supports in a stadium. So earlier I mentioned M Squared supports thousands of people running around wherever they want. Follow me and we'll see what a capacity crowd can look like in one of your stadiums using M Squared technology when we also add seats. So look at these people seated here. To be honest, right now they're bots, but you get the picture. When those are real participants, they will all be able to see each other and everything replicated across the whole experience. And honestly, it's incredible. And M Squared is the only platform doing this right now. So most other metaverses are measuring capacity in the dozens. We measure in the thousands. Now, I've got to be clear on one thing. There is a distinction between being seated and being standing. In Otherside, Alexa, ScavLab, we demonstrated support for thousands of people running all over the place unpredictably and interacting. But to hit 50,000, we need some butts in seats. So without getting too technical, we already support massive crowds, unpredictably changing position. And in 2023, we'll add capacity for tens of thousands of co-present people watching, emoting, cheering, talking with each other, and listening from their seats. So just like a real stadium experience, participating from your seat is going to be awesome. And it'll appeal to lots of folks. For instance, those who want the best view, those using a mobile device, or someone who just doesn't want to navigate around like in a video game. But you'll be able to get out of a seat if you've got the right privileges and wander around. Actually, it also occurs to me, it's kind of dark right here over in this area of the stands. Let's do something else a little metaversey. Instead of waiting for time to pass, hey, director, could you quickly change the sun's position in the sky for us?
Sure, no problem.
Thank you. Check it out. Just like that. All the lighting is dynamic and it's replicated for everyone. Oh, looks like we got a vendor coming this way as well. Hey, Timsk, yeah. Can I please get, I don't know, an NFT hot dog?
Yeah, one NFT hot dog coming up. That will be $37, please.
That's a steal at that price. You got it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Peanuts, hot dogs, get your sausages.
And this gives you an idea of the kind of interaction you could have. Obviously, Timsk here, very, very American in his pronunciation of hot dogs. Appreciate that one. You'll also notice that he got a little quieter when he walked away. We'll talk about that one as well. And getting back to the light, you'll notice that we did change the position of the light. Let's continue down here while I'm rambling. We did change the position of the light. Using the latitude and longitude of the real stadium, we can pick a given day and even a given time and weather to accurately reflect exactly what the lighting conditions were at any time. So that's pretty cool. You also heard I was chatting with Perry. You can see him up here over center field. Perry, do you mind throwing an emote so we can see him? There he is. He's in the director's booth that we built up there. So super handy having a director. He's the person that triggers a lot of changes for us. In M Squared experiences with thousands of participants live, we find it's really handy to have someone who could set off cues for a live show, controlling the music, the weather, setting off fireworks, changing the crowd excitement level. Right now we have the crowd excitement level set relatively high physically, but they're actually quiet so that you can hear me better, because I love hearing the sound of my own voice. So we can even change gravity to moon gravity and make psychedelic visuals happen with a push of the director's button. So we can automate all of those things, but it's often useful to have someone that can time it just right when there's an unpredictable crowd or performers just sort of doing things at their own pace. All right, so speaking of the sorts of things we do in our events, let's continue down these stairs. I'll demonstrate a little bit of physics for us. So as we walk down here, you'll see what, we call these tables. These are honestly pretty bad tables. I think if you I'm bumping my head. I better shrink a little bit. You can see that if you bump into these tables, they'll knock everything off of them. Now, walking into tables that jostle around, not the most exciting minigame, but what we're doing here is demonstrating real-time physics that are replicated for everyone. So when you bump one of those tables, 50,000 other people can see it, right? So when we start talking about what that can mean, it gets really exciting. In other M squared experiences, we've even had other people import 3D models of their NFTs, like a GLTF format space helmet, with accurate collision automatically. And it comes in, it rolls on the round surfaces, it slides on the flat surfaces. People can bat them around in groups of 100 like a giant beach ball in a group activity. Super exciting. And there's lots of ways that we can leverage the technology of physics in these experiences. In fact, I'll demonstrate something a little mean here and use one of my special presenter powers to force push Cushion Bianca around. So that sent them flying. That sent them flying. It's kind of handy if you're presenting, you got thousands of people around to be able to manipulate people and move them around like that. But again, the important thing here is that those physics are replicated. Every single person sees the move. They see the move. We've had giants playing ping pong with hundreds of people in a live event before. So again, it's all about that physics being replicated across all the players. And over here, I see someone... doesn't quite look like Shakira to me, but dancing, apparently. Hello, Shakira. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Nice. I'm doing pretty well, thank you. I was able to identify Shakira here because most of our sim players don't emote. So dead giveaway, this one's a human. Good moves there. Thank you. Very shocking. So hopefully you can hear Shakira. Why don't you push the C button and talk back?
Hello.
What? Nice, Bianca, I hear you. Everyone, give it a try. Try talking with Shakira.
Hello. I can hear you. Not so tired.
Hey, everyone.
Nice. Yeah, you're dancing like you just don't get tired of it at all, do you?
No.
Well,
it's my life.
The point... Yeah, well, you know what? I think you're pretty good at it, if you ask me. So, like, hopefully what you'll notice is that the audio feels realistic, right? And if you walk away or you put objects in between people speaking, it will muffle and occlude just like in real life, right? So, again, that's very tricky from a technical perspective, but it should feel natural. It creates an emergent sense of community amongst people that are getting together and just meeting up and chatting and so on. If you're not feeling chatty, you can always disable your mic. You can type via text. You see chat going in the bottom left. You can even hold the B button and emote. Right, so there's lots of ways to communicate. You'll also notice that, me, as I walk away, I don't get quieter. That's because I'm using a special presenter ability to make sure my voice stays loud at all times. So that's, as I said, love hearing the sound of my own voice. Super handy when you have a performer that everybody in the arena can hear them, right? So everyone is subjected to what I'm saying right now. If you got complaints about the demo, feel free to use proximity chat so just a small number of us hear it. But don't get too feisty because we have text and chat moderation systems that automatically work. Oh, thank you. So if you type something nasty into chat, you'll get muted. You might even get banned. We also have real-time technology that scans your audio, your microphone. And if you say something nasty there, we will use the same automatic moderation system. So this is how we ensure that the community is always healthy and positive. All right, enough talking about talking. Let's get out onto the field. So as you look at the center field wall here, because we're VIPs for the purposes of this demo, that wall's going to lower and let us out into the outfield. So another nice thing about the metaverse is you don't have to walk everywhere. So what we're demonstrating here is called an on-rails experience. We're moving you from center field to a better spot where you can see the rest of the action in the demo behind the plate. And maybe on-rails isn't quite accurate, more like a giant eagle picked you up and is flying you around, but it illustrates the point. So as you can see, when appropriate, we can take control over someone's position and move them around. So now we've got everyone behind the plate here. And try not to focus too much on the batting and pitching here, the animations anyway, I should say. They were put here to demonstrate physics and to also allow us to see a sense of scale. You'd be surprised how hard it is to find a character animator on short notice in London who has a mocap suit and a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. But you can imagine how with field vision, we could create a really exciting set of experiences where people can see the action right on the field, or as Vlad is doing here, excitedly run the bases himself. So obviously, when we got tens of thousands of people enjoying like skeletal animation from field vision, if everyone is chasing around the bases to see the action, we're going to be getting in each other's way. So on rails movement is nice, but it's also really important for us to have technology that will allow us to take your camera separately from your position and move it around. That's a key technical capability for us. So to give the best experience, we can move your camera without moving your position. Director, would you mind cycling a couple camera angles for us? And here you can see we really quickly put in a blue ribbon to sort of demonstrate the ball's travel. You can see how with field vision and a little bit more time, we can make that a really powerful experience for reliving some of the best plays of the season, for instance. And then you're right back where you were. So we can grab 40,000 sets of eyes around the camera, move them right behind the pitcher at the right moment, and then they're right back in their seats. So pretty exciting. And speaking of perspective, right, video is an important part of any experience. If you take a look into the outfield, got a couple scoreboards there right where they ought to be. And I remember in my high school, we had to do a fundraiser to improve the scoreboards. It was a lot of money. Another nice thing about the metaverse, increasing the size of the scoreboard is virtually free. Hey, Director, would you mind blowing the size of the screen up a little bit, please?
No problem.
Ah, thank you. That's good. But, you know, we're not paying by the pixel. Would you make them a little bit bigger for us, please? Boom. Nice. Excellent. So obviously we can put a scoreboard on there. Let's put a video up if that's all right. Director, would you mind hitting a millicast stream for us? Nice. So this video footage is actually of our Alexa concert. Those weren't bots or sim players. Those were real players because it wasn't a demo. It was a live event. It gives you a sense of how many people that we can fit in. And this was last year. Also, importantly, we're not streaming 50,000 videos to 50,000 people. By using the millicast service and integrating tightly with it, we're able to stream this all at a fraction of the cost and make for a really rich experience. The other thing is it doesn't have to be canned. We use these video experiences to run things like live quizzes in some of our experiences. So we can draw on those screens using any video technology in real time and have it reflected. So thank you for taking a look at that. Another nice thing is when you combine that with crowd audio, when we did a 3-second video with some teasers and some hidden Easter eggs in it for the other side's first trip, you should have heard it. Like thousands of people all in proximity, all with hot mics, suddenly going, oh, murmur, did you see that? Did you see this? Do you think that was? And it's hard to describe what it was like to be there when all of those people suddenly started excitedly describing what they saw. It was one of those you have to be there moments. And that's what we're really focused on creating with these massive crowds, is those moments where you just had to be there to experience it. And that should give you a sense for roughly what it's like with this demo. Thank you for taking the time to watch it, and you can see what sets M Squared apart. We're excited to talk to you about next steps. And with that, Director, go ahead and hit the flyby.